Plaintiff Harry Johnson claims the defendant is responsible for the violent death of his beloved cat, Little Kitty. He's suing for $2,000 for vet bills. Defendant, Annalisa Skidmore-Diaz, claims her dog was leashed at the time of the alleged attack on the plaintiff's cat, so there's no way she's responsible.
It's case 70 on the docket, Johnson versus Skidmore-Diaz.
Okay, welcome to both of you. We have the plaintiff, Mr. Johnson. As I understand it, you are suing the defendant, Ms. Skidmore-Diaz, in the amount of $2,000 for vet bills. What's the story here?
Well, this is for my best friend, Little Kitty. She was my cat for 8 years approximately.
Oh, wow.
She's recently deceased due to being mauled by an animal.
What kind of animal?
Pit bull.
A pit bull?
About a 60, 80-pound pit bull. Pretty big dog. On June the 2nd, my neighbor called me about 6 o'clock in the morning and said there was a dog inside my fenced front yard, which I have a picture here of the yard, Your Honor.
Yeah, let's see your yard.
And the reason he called, his dog and my cat were friends.
Okay.
His dog was going crazy because this lady's animal was inside my fenced yard.
Oh, somehow the pit bull got inside your yard,
my yard,
and started mauling your cat.
Right, and that's when his dog started reacting to it.
Sure.
And it was trying to, I guess, help my cat.
Yeah.
He called me, I come downstairs, come out the front door, and I look into the yard, and the picture that you had the view of there, the cat is up toward the front where that white spot is to the right side center of the picture.
Is that the dog we're looking at?
That's the dog, sir.
That's the pit bull.
That's the pit bull. And I looked over and seen the cat in the yard, and the dog was running out to the cat, continuing to attack the cat. Obviously, the cat's back was broke and been tore up, but the little cat was still fighting for her life. So I started hollering at the dog to get away from the cat, to leave the cat alone. And I distracted the dog, and the dog come to the fence, and I had keys to the gate. I was going to open the gate and let the dog out so I could see if my cat was all right and to get the dog away. The dog would keep running back to the cat, taunting the cat, and the cat was screaming, trying to fight. I called the police. The police responded real quick. 2 officers come and approached the fence, and the dog was arguing with them now. The police called animal control to respond quick. The officers were standing outside into the street, the alleyway. The dog was moving back and forth inside the fence in the yard. It came toward me. Then all of a sudden it turned and it went toward the street and it leapt, cleared the fence. It took a good run, hit the top of that fence, right over that fence like it was nothing. The officers jumped back, pulled their firearms and their tasers. The dog dodged the officer in the street, then pranced right up the street to her porch, and we stood there and watched it and went right up on her porch. And the officers were in tow. As soon as the officers were gone, I had my keys, I opened the gate, hollered for my wife to bring me a towel to make a sling, to carry my cat out, and I got my cat and went to MedVet.
And what happened at MedVet? I'm sorry, sir, what happened?
The animal control met me up there after they initially confronted with the police and Ms. Diaz, I believe, or her son. And this is a photo of my baby fighting for her life there. I stayed up there for a while and they told me to go home. So I headed home. I got home and they called me and said that she died. So I went back up, and on the way up, they called me and said she come back. It happened twice during the course of the day. And the third time, she finally succumbed to her injuries. That was my friend for a long time. I'm sorry, I get a little emotional.
Well, I understand.
Excuse me, please.
Okay, let me hear from you.
So, firstly, my dog is, her name is Luce, and we purchased her from a lady that, in this note that she sent to me, she calls her Minnie. That was her previous name. But it's a statement from her that where she has other animals as well and has had no problems with the dog.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
Now, my dog has been targeted because she is a pit bull. I'm a big supporter of the breed. I know that that day in question, like, I was training my dog to be a support animal.
Yes.
So my dog is an individual that she has gear on her. I've taken her inside of grocery stores. Like I said, I have a cat that is still living. We've had her for almost 8 years now.
But there was a reference in your statement, which you wrote, is when we first got her, your pit bull.
Yes. She was not trained when I got her.
I understand that, and I understand, and I'm not here to condemn all pit bulls and all of that. You may have had some kind of an argument if his cat had come into your yard where you have a right to keep your pit bull and the cat would have been mauled. That makes it a little bit of a different case. But the law is very clear. This is your animal, and if your animal leaves your property, there is a leash law. There's a reason for those leash laws. And it's not just against pit bulls. It's against dogs just biting people. And sometimes they don't just bite people or other animals because they're angry. They're playing. They don't know.
I do understand that, Your Honor, but again, the dog, I don't know that she did this. It's
If
a
I
very
may,
good
sir.
chance that she's being wrongfully accused in this instance.
As I
because
understand it, we were
There's a
looking at-
video.
There's a video of the dog in your yard.
Being very aggressive.
In your yard is what
Yes,
I
sir.
want to know.
Yes, it's in my yard, sir.
The fact that a pit bull would jump a fence and be in the yard with the cat, and then the cat there is dead, or just about dying,
Almost dead.
and then the dog jumps and runs away, it's pretty reasonable to assume that that's the dog that bit the cat.
We need some justice for
That's
little kitty.
In
assuming
my
that-
tradition, that
that is
Father bought for
assuming
two
that it
zero. Let's
is
look at the
actually my
video. Let's
dog.
look at the video.
Let's look at the video, yes.
Yeah. You killed my cat. Bitch. In my. You know.
And that is your dog.
I have no idea. It doesn't have a collar on it.
Come on. That's your dog.
I don't know.
How can you have a dog and not know what it looks like?
Well, the bottom line here, Your Honor, is that when I walked my dog that morning, she had a leash and a collar on.
Didn't
I
the dog
walked
just
her from
walk
at
to your
3:30 in
house?
the morning or at 4 starting off, and we were out for hours to where she was exhausted. We came to the house, and once we got to the house, then she got away from me. But she had her collar and her leash. So when she got loose from me, then I started chasing her around the block, trying to grab her, and I couldn't catch her. So I stood in my yard and I was waiting for her to come back around, and I was standing there for a moment, and then I walked into the house and either grabbed my jacket or something because it was cold. That's why I remember walking back into the house. When I came out, she was walking from the right side of the road up to my house, and I walked, and she was very jovial. There's a difference between a dog that's just completed an attack and a dog that was out running around. This dog was wagging her tail, she was calm, and she
thought
had
you was
no
at work.
signs of blood at all on her. I
The
walked down the
police
stairs,
followed
The dog
and I
straight up
looked
to the
both
house.
ways down that street to see if anybody was returning her. There was not one human being for 2 blocks on either side outside.
There's video of your dog in the yard, the police seeing the dog go up to your house. There's this theory call, which I
Well,
mentioned
my
once.
question is where the police parked at, because
Yeah,
there were no
They
police
were
on my
parked
street.
directly in front of my house, right plain view. I could see
Okay.
your house from my house.
All right, stop talking to each other.
Yes, sir.
There's this theory that I bring up every once in a while called res ipsa loquitur. It means it speaks for itself. If before you went to sleep at night, you looked out at your front lawn and it was just nice and green. When you woke up in the morning, it was 3 inches of snow. It is fair for you to assume that sometime during the night it snowed. That's res ipsa loquitur. You didn't see it, but by looking at what ultimately happened, you can conclude. It is fair to assume if you see a video of that pit bull in the yard, if you see that pit bull jump over the fence then, and then you see the dog walking back to your house, it is reasonable to assume that the dog was the one that bit the cat. In your complaint, you're suing for $2,000 for payment of the vet bill. May I
Yes,
see
sir.
the vet bill, please?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Lucy.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And so I fine for the plaintiff in the sum of $2,000.
Thank you, Your Honor. Justice for little kitty. I think the judge's verdict was honest based on the evidence I presented.
It is what it is, but I just don't agree with it.
We want little kitty got her justice.
Hey, YouTube, check out my new show, Judge Jerry. Now for sneak preview and behind the scenes footage, subscribe to my channel now.